Kom nou uit daar. Kan ek hom vir ons vas?
Well, what a start. It's still raining here, but we managed to get back into a bivvy here on swim number 13 with Jason and Imran. And they're onto a fish immediately. They are going to feed now, and that's what we wanted to show you. They are preparing for the night, but with the first cast that they started feeding, the rod went. So, for our international viewers, we are here at the Nyl. It's a biodiversity project area. It's an offset area actually, and there's a very interesting international tournament running at the moment. It is between Israel and South Africa, the Proteas, and we are on the B sector or B zone with Jason and Imran, and we are bringing you a little bit of an insight what happens on this peg. The entire tournament is brought to you by the tournament committee, and we are hosting it from a media point of view, but we can't do it without a number of partners. So there's some sponsors that came on board and said we are bringing you the best in terms of being on the pegs. So today is brought to you by Twin Series Angling, and they are saying enjoy it with us. So thank you, Twin Series, and let's have a look on what is happening here. So Imran has taken over the rod with the fish on, and Jason is carrying on fish feeding. There's quite a storm that came over, but now it's I think it's over, and there's a little bit of sun peeping out, which is great. Still a bit of drops every now and then, so I just want to keep the camera out of the rain for now. So Jason is feeding up, getting ready for the night. In terms of the rules, there is absolutely no feeding with a spom allowed at night. So all that heavy feeding cannot happen. No big balls with slingshots and things like that. They're allowed to feed with catapult and boilie pipe. So only trickle feed at night. So they are doing some bulk feeding now. You can see how he's putting the particles into the spom. He measured it out just now. Now he's just chucking it all in at a specific distance. They had an excellent weigh of more than 80 kilos on their first weigh, which is quite a good result. And there's a number of bags already in again, maybe 5 or 6 with fish.
You should just tell me where to move. Tell me where to
Stay right there.
Okay.
But you must try and do it. Yeah. Alright.
We actually just practiced, we practiced before already.
It looks like the rain is moving over, but we'll move out just now if we are sure that there's nothing coming down. There's something interesting that Jason does, and with the wind from the side and a little bit from the back, it's important for him to get that line out as straight as possible. Remember, it's with braid, so it catches a little bit more wind. So he needs to get it hard into the clip, but without the terminal speed hitting that, because remember, there's absolutely no stretch in that braid. So you need that spom to go like that and slowly reduce speed and nose dive and then hit it exactly when it's on the clip. So it's quite an interesting one. So look how he does it. He casts fairly hard. About 3/4 in, he starts feathering it, reducing the speed, letting it nose dive, hit the clip when the line is almost straight, and he hits the spot every time. See if you can pick that up. But you see how he feathers that, so that it reduces speed and just hit the clip. It's the only way to get the line as straight as possible and to hit that spot. Otherwise, if you let it go too fast, too far, the bow is too big, and the moment that it hits the clip, with that big bow, it veers to the left. We are seeing some blue sky, so we might get the camera out of the bivvy now. The Israeli team on peg 16 is also feeding at the moment. You can see the nice white spoms as they come back on top of the water. They are also preparing their swim for the night, making sure that there's enough particles for the bigger fish. touch you a bit.
There you go.
That's enough. Let's just stand close enough. 80 kilos plus. Are you happy?
Really happy. We couldn't have asked for better. I think we were 2 kilos short of 90, and if we keep at that pace, and we have slowed a little bit now, but it's for feeding and purposes, so we're very happy. I'm sure that's a good start.
At the previous Carp International, of course, this peg delivered the winning peg, and
Yeah.
it delivered over a ton.
Yeah, no pressure.
So there's absolutely no pressure.
Yeah.
So you can go a ton and a half.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I was at the tournament. Via and Jordan, I think, had about 60 or 70 as well
Yes.
to start. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve. Like I said, they've turned off a little bit, but I mean, we've got to get feed in, otherwise we're going to be sleeping, which we don't want to do.
The weather, and I mean, earlier today we had a mirror of a dam in front of us. Absolutely no wind.
Yeah,
Then the wind pushed in. Then the rain came over.
yeah,
Then it went past. Now it's turning around and it's coming back. The wind has
Yeah.
changed 180 degrees.
all 4 in one day.
Yes.
So all 4 directions. Up until about an hour ago, it didn't really make a difference which way it blew. The last hour with that storm coming in, it's definitely, I think we've got about 6 or 7 bags hanging where earlier we were on all the time.
So it definitely slowed down.
It did.
And the wind direction, also the wind you can feel is a little bit chilly now.
Yeah, it is,
It's
and
cooler.
it actually came into us a little bit, so we have to fish at range on our peg, which made it a little bit tricky. So that could have been, I mean, it really came into us for a bit.
And just in the last 10 minutes that we were standing here, the wind direction changed. It was
Yeah.
a little bit from the back, then it came like that, and now it's almost pushing from the front.
Makes feeding a little bit more tricky as well, because you know, to control your spawn is another story.
I see you cast it hard and you feather it
Yeah.
until you hit the clip, and then you put it down.
Yeah, and
Is that to get the boat out?
That's to try and get the bow out, and the problem is if you hit it too high, I mean, it deviates 15,
Yes.
20 meters. So, you know, and we aren't in it yet. We haven't. I mean, we slung in the beginning. So we're only getting used to it now. It's not. So I mean, by tomorrow we should be on it where we throw and we hit it perfect.
I don't know if it's confidential information, but do you have a short plan as well?
We do. That was very productive today. But it just, I mean, you catch a few and then they're gone. So unfortunately, I mean, I remember from last year, it's all at distance. This is the side. You know, we all were hoping for the other side where you could fish nice and short, and so that's most probably why we're feeding, or that's why we're feeding so nicely now, to make sure through the night there you can reach your spots with pretty much anything that you want. Yeah, unfortunately there's only one thing, and that's you know, you're going to make your arm look like Popeye. The boilie pipe's all we've got tonight, so yeah, it's
So
hope.
you got to give it stick.
Yeah, that's why we've got to make sure we feed, and yeah, so it's really important that we get enough. Number 4, Imran. Number 4.
Alright, that's it.
Yeah, so we've just come onto something actually, which is nice for the evening, and yeah, let's hope. I mean, we've really we've caught some absolute beautiful fish today. Imran's a little bit sick, so the minute the rain came, we had to hide him in the tent a bit.
Okay, so he was on the bait.
Yeah, so he's at the back. But I mean, today when the sun was up earlier, I think I haven't sat yet. I don't know why we bring a chair with, to be honest.
I see the chairs are lying outside.
No need for a chair or a stretcher at this stage. Well,
Have you had any problems with barbel?
our plan currently is you know, we're gonna fight through them.
Right, yeah.
We are catching more carp than barbel, but
What's the ratio?
No, this is the third one now that we've had today, so it's
Okay,
not.
so it's not
but
too
they're all in the last few minutes, in the last hour and a half.
But also the wind picked up.
Absolutely.
Normally
They love
yes.
the overcast weather, so you know that's the other thing. So now you'll just try and bully it and hope.
Okay,
something
so
comes.
what is that exact moment in time that you decide it's not a 10k carp, it's a barbel?
So I had a big one on maybe an hour ago, and I thought it was a big carp. It swam up and So in the beginning you're sort of sensitive, but once the fish come in, you'll know. Once they're feeding proper, you just have that feel. Okay, this guy's just a bit too strong, and then you play him a bit harder, and hopefully,
Have you had playing that barbel very hard and then it pops up as a carp?
Last year we had a good couple of those. We thought, okay, let's bully this guy, and comes up and you catch a 9 kilo carp. So last year we definitely had lots. We haven't had any yet this year, but I'm sure. We're still really early.
But with the barbel, you just play them hard. You don't try and break them off.
No.
So you
we
just put more force.
We hope, to be honest, we just hope that something gives up. Either he pulls the hook but generally they're so well set. You just pull him hard and then I'll scoop and you release.
The different roles on the peg, how do you divide that? You've just mentioned that Imran was a bit sick, so you kept him out of the rain. But when you are fishing that tempo, who's doing what, and what is your best efficient plan?
So today, on the shorter spot, I was into it, so I managed those 2 rods and Imran was on the long. But funny enough, we both hit them today. That's most probably why we started nicely. Normally one guy's in and we started one of the essays as well, and I was into it. Today we were both in, and Imran handled the longer ones, I handled the shorties, and we just pushed through as hard as we could, but we really caught them nice.
What do you do in terms of preparation? Do you have rigs ready and just change and cast, or do you have a rod ready?
So at a time like this, it's a little bit more tricky because we've got the patterns, the hook baits that worked 2 hours ago are not working anymore, or a lot slower, so we'll start playing around. We won't rig as many, but once today we just rigged. The minute that we got time, we rigged. We've got pre-made PVA sacks, and we just rigged them up.
And you just then change the rigs. You don't have rods that are standing ready.
We do. So we've got enough spare rods. So our shorties were all rigged, and we all had them at the same distance. And what was nice, we had the same distance on the middle range as well. So when we land, we normally cast. But at this time, while we're feeling it out, we sort of playing
Slow
around.
down.
And we just take our time, make sure that what we do it right. I want Imran's casting on the rods at the moment, and if he doesn't hit where we want to be, we're pulling in and we're going again. So we really want to be in a dam like this where there's silt. I promise you, half a meter made a difference today.
Okay, so you need to be on the spot.
On the spot.
Yeah. So hook pulled, and it's
Richard,
okay. So Richard asked, with the weather conditions as they are, do you fish deeper or shallower? Specifically with the overcast and the rain and everything that came out, did you have to move out or come in?
We've had to move out. But again,
further.
We're playing around. At this stage, we're playing around. We're throwing them at different distances to try and get it. Our two of our rods are going consistently,
and those are the big ones.
And those are. But hopefully, once we're fed and everything's settled, we'll be able to find something again.
Okay, we're just going to stand around and watch a little bit, and maybe we see a couple of good movies with nice carp. So let's be in the corner for a while.
you should do is take the feed distance and throw one of those in there. The hook bait that you just caught that bobble on and try it in the feed.
What did you see? At Bloemhof, I saw these guys, how clever they worked in terms of the one of the efficiency enhancers, if I can call it like that. Now obviously here you can't clip in because if you are busy, it runs into the clip, it's just an issue. So they mark the line, and as they are fishing, that mark goes off constantly. So this is what they do. They've got these little fellas on their pegs. I just clip it in there, it hangs there, cannot go off. Pull it out, every time they have to, mark again, put it back, just hang it back onto that specific rod. So you're not sitting with the pin on rod 1 and you need to mark 4 and it's lying somewhere under. Every single rod has got his own pin. Showing the marking. I want to talk to Imran while he's in there, so let's see if we can get the camera there and get him to talk and share a little bit without giving away his secrets. You don't need to cast or anything now, you've got rods in.
Yeah, I'm just testing.
Okay. So without necessarily giving away what you are doing, just want to talk to you about inherently the differences in terms of baits in the day and baits in the night. Generally speaking, and not necessarily now. But what is your feeling about how do you change your strategy for night in terms of baits?
We will fish in the day and then we'll try and build a pattern. And once we've got a pattern going and they switch off, we will alter it until there we eat them again. So the same baits can work in the day and the same baits can work at night. Generally we just change the color of the sponge or the sight or so. But like I said,
that's my question. So you say you would fish, you would get a pattern, you would work on that,
yeah,
and then when they go off, you would change something, alter a bit. Now, what's the first thing that you alter?
We first alter the color of the sighters.
Even at night, the sighter color makes a big difference.
First alter the color of the sighter.
So what's your favorite night colors?
If you have to ask me that in another 2 days, I'll tell
Okay,
you.
so in 2 days' time, we're going to say what was the Nyl's favorite night color, and then we're going to come back to Imran and he's going to show us. I respect that fully.
So now we haven't hit them properly on sighters, but we are going with orange.
Okay.
I have cut the boilie down and try and build a bait with that. So we'll try this, and once it works, it works.
Combination baits. How important combination baits versus a single type?
Also depends on the pattern. So we'll try and work it out until we actually hit them properly.
And do you find that it's like a switch the moment that you hit it right? Does it change like that?
90% of the time it's immediate effect. The fish are there, they're waiting, they're hungry, and they'll switch and switch and switch. And then if they switch off of what you are feeding them, then they won't eat it. And as soon as you switch it back on and you find something that works, then you're back in them.
So they are there.
They are
You
there,
are
they're
convinced that they are
hungry,
there. You just
yeah.
need to find what they're eating.
Yeah, they switch all the time. It depends on the color of the sky. If the sun is shining, they, for argument's sake, on yellow. And as soon as a cloud comes by, then they switch over to a red. So it depends. And the
Well-
faster you can keep up with it, the quicker you're going to be in the fish again.
Now that takes a bit of thinking all the time. So you've got to be in it the whole time.
Yeah, so for the whole day I've been baiting. So I've been inside here and outside there casting for the whole day. As soon as I switch off, and then Jason will carry on again.
Okay.
And he'll try and work out something. As soon as he's on something, then he'll bait up. I will do casting and playing the fish, and he'll just bait and bait and bait.
Now this reasoning, this thinking or outthinking the carp, saying, okay, they don't want that, I've seen this, doesn't work, takes too long, I need to change this, change that, change that. So you've got to be cognitively, you've got to be there all the time.
All the time, yeah.
What happens after 3 days with that reasoning of you?
I think you're so in the swing of things, you know more or less what's happening, because you take note of what time of the day it changes and to what it changes, and then you just try and keep up with it.
Okay, so it's sort of muscle memory type of
It
thing.
becomes something like that, yeah.
What you're doing there, are you willing to show it and tell us about it?
Yeah, I can
No.
show you.
Okay.
That's fine. I don't think they've got this.
Okay, and that's my question is always about this paste. So he's got some paste, and paste is allowed only if it's over
Yeah,
a hard
so
bait.
the tricky part is trying to put it on without it actually going onto the hook.
Okay, so
So that's fine.
so the paste is not allowed to be on the hook
No,
or
you
touch the
can't
hook.
put it on the hook because the rule says no bait on the hook.
Okay, so now you've got a boilie that you cut and a sighter, and now you are putting a bomb of paste
Basically, a bomb
around
of
it without
paste.
touching the
Yeah,
hook.
Yeah. So you can touch the bottom, but it mustn't be like
On the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can rest against it, that's all fine, but it mustn't be on the hook, or the hook mustn't be inside it.
Hook length, day and night.
Hook?
Hook length, the length of the hook length.
Personal preference,
Okay.
and it depends. On
Does
the
it
salt.
change?
No, it doesn't really change.
Okay.
So what we are doing currently, we're fishing very light hook length. So 3 fish, and then I need to change the hook length because it's going to part. And then we'll try and switch over.
A question on that
Yeah.
fine hook length, does the barbel change it by himself?
The barbel?
Does it somewhat change it
The
himself?
barbel changes.
Okay, so that's one of the tricks.
Yeah.
If you're picking up barbel with this,
Then
you
we
can
would
hold,
rather go
and the
fine,
moment
yeah.
you know it's a barbel,
It's
you
like
can fight
catching
him
shad,
hard
and you'll
enough,
just bite it off.
and you will know after some time this light looks
gonna
like
part.
boom, gone. You know it was a barbel.
Also one of the secrets, yeah. Especially fishing. Yeah.
Oh well, now it's not a secret anymore.
So then if the carp are feeding and they're feeding quite aggressive, then we'll start switching over to a more bulkier hook length.
Mhm.
So you can actually
A
put
combi
more,
length.
yeah, put a lot more pressure on him, and because of the angle of the hook, once he's hooked is never
Yeah.
going to lose.
It's
Then
also
you
a
can-
wide gape, so
yeah.
it sits in deep.
Yeah, so you can actually pull him a bit.
Mm.
So you generally want to fish a link like this, but because they're a bit skittish, so we'll rather fish the finer links.
So there is space for the finer links at times, and there is space for the heavier links when they are in.
When they're in, the heavier links 100%, but when it's skittish, the finer links for us works 100 times better.
Cool. Thank you. So that was a very interesting one. Let's take a question or two here. Oh yes, there is. The question is, do you have a limit on the amount of feed that you can put in 72 hours? So there's a limit on the amount of feed you can bring into it.
Yeah.
So you can decide whether it's wet or dry, or cook it on the peg. So what is the limit?
I think it's 200 kilos.
Okay, so it says 200
Just need
kilos.
to confirm
200
that, but it's 200 kilos of dry feed that you can bring in. You can cook that in, it almost doubles. But yeah, everything was brought in for us, and we just.
So are you on the limit in terms of the amount that you...
I am not sure what the quantities is. They bring it to us in buckets, and we just get it out.
So
I don't know what
the team
quantity is.
captain who is part of this, or in charge of the strategy, say, here's your feed. And if it's 250 or 200 or on the limit or whatever, that's what they fish out. Do you know how much you came
Yeah,
in with?
we had about 170. So we
Okay,
were-
170 dry.
Yeah. Yes.
Some wet and some dry, or just everything?
A little bit of wet, yeah.
A little bit of wet and some dry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the beauty of it. If you come in with maize, for instance, and you come in with 20 kilos of maize, and you cook it, you're sitting with more or less 40. So you can double it or step it up. Okay. Let's watch what they are doing for the last couple of minutes before we move on to the next bit.
What are you looking for?
So as they are completing their routine for feeding for the night, they're also starting to fish that deeper lines. The weather has cleared up pretty nicely, and we're quite impressed with it. There's been a couple of questions, and I just want to go through a few interesting things about carp handling and the rules about carp handling. So firstly, only fish above 1.5 kilogram counts as a carp. That's the first thing. Only carp counts. So no barbel. It doesn't matter what you have. Barbel isn't part of the game. It's a carp tournament. Then, is that a fish on?
Just want to move out of their way.
Is that a fish on, Jason? Okay, well, he's on with a fish. So then, in terms of carp care, very important. There's a limit to the size of the net. Must be knotless nets. So carp care is absolutely important. Then the use of cradles is a must. You must land the fish, take it out, put it in the cradle, and then put it in a wet carp sack, then back into the water. So if for instance that carp would be landed, and at the time you are putting it into a carp sack, it jumps out of your hand and it lands on dry ground, it is actually disqualified. And I've seen guys without any officials close to them that drop a fish and they said now it's outside the rules, and they put it back. So I think that type of respect is what is absolutely great about the sport. So while he's playing it, then the other thing is, especially when it's going fast on the peg, what the guys are doing, they're having another rig or a whole rod ready to go in again. But the peg mate is not allowed to cast it while the other angler is still playing it. So he would stand ready like this, the other guy would land it. The moment he lands it and picks it up out of the water, the rod goes in again. So it's just like that, no time wasted. Then it will be put into the net and everything. The other thing is also, you are not allowed, so that's that rod. So you are not allowed to have two rods out while there's a fish in the cradle. A couple of interesting things about it. The other thing that is important to know is, now obviously we've spoken about the limit, 200 kilograms of ground bait, and then there's also a number of rules in terms of baits that you can and that you can't. No paste, no floaties, no worms, that type of thing. No bait on the hook at all. Like in bank angling, not at all. Let's check out this fish. Another good quality fish in the net. So it's time for us to go. Let's move on and see if we can catch some action at the Israeli pegs. So thank you once again for our sponsors making this media coverage possible. Thank you to Twin Series Angling for today's event. Thank you guys for doing a lot for fishing, and as you are, all of our sponsors, thank you very much for that. And to you guys on the other side of the camera at the back watching all of this, thank you for your support, and catch us a little bit later while we're on one of the Israeli pegs. Signing out for now.